Keeping up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with a remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students!
Welcome, dear students. Subject English, Grade 5, topic What a Bird Thought. This is our first topic from Unit 1, and this is a poem. We human beings have thought process. We think, analyze, and decide many things. But students, have you ever thought even a bird can have a thought? What a bird thinks about the world, how it sees the world. So let's see today a poem What a Bird Thought. Let's start with our poem. I lived first in little house and lived there very well. The world to me was small and round and made of pale blue shell. I lived next in little nest nor needed any other. I thought the world was made of straw and covered by my mother. One day I fluttered from the nest to see what I could find. I said, the world is made of leaves. I have been very blind. At last I flew beyond the tree and saw the sky so blue. Now, how the world is really made, I cannot tell you. Can you? Now, this is our first stanza of the poem. I lived first in little house and lived there very well. The world to me was small and round and made of pale blue shell. In the first stanza, the bird talks about how well it used to live in a little house that was small, round, and made of light colored shell. Here, the bird refers to the egg that is hatched from. Here, bird is inside the egg and sees the world. Now, this is our second stanza. I lived next in little nest, nor needed any other. I thought the world was made of straw and covered by my mother. Here, the bird says that it lived in a little nest which was protected by its mother. Since it was living in the nest, the bird thought that the world was made of dry grass. It means straw. So, the bird thinks that world is made of straw. Now, the next stanza. One day I fluttered from the nest to see what I could find. I said, the world is made of leaves. I have been very blind. Now, let's see the meaning. As the bird grew older and struggled to fly, it noticed that the world was made of green leaves of the tree and not just the dry grass that surrounded its nest. Now we will see the last stanza. At last I flew beyond the tree and saw the sky so blue. Now, how the world is really made, I cannot tell you, can you? Now, students, here at last, when the bird grew old enough to fly away from the nest, it flies over the trees and saw the blue sky stretched afar. The bird is confused and ends up the poem by posing a question to the readers. It asks us if we can tell what the world is really made of. So, students, we have seen the meanings of all these stanzas of poem, and through this we understood that bird is thinking how the world is made of. First it thought that it was made of pale blue shell, then next it thought that it was made of straw. When it start flying it think that it is made of green leaves, and at last it saw the blue sky. So at last bird is asking question to the readers. It means bird is asking us what the world is really made of. As bird is confused and it cannot tell, so it is asking to us. Now let's see the words. Flutter meaning to fly wings quickly while flying. Pale having a light shade of color. Shell a hard protective cover on outside. For example, we have seen eggs and some animals are there which have shell which protect them. Straw, dried grass used for building nest. Now let's see the rhyming words of this poem. So as we have read this poem, we understood the meaning also. Now we have to find out the rhyming words from the poem. So, students, get ready to find out the rhyming words. Now, have a look on this poem. I know you all know the rhyming words of this poem. You all are doing great job. Yes, you have find out all the rhyming words. So now let's see the rhyming words of this poem. Rhyming words 1. Well shell. 2. Other mother. 3. Fine blind. 4. Blue you. Good job, students. You have done really well. So now let's revise what we have learned today. So we have learned a poem, What a Bird Thought. The poem What a Bird Thought is a narration by a bird wherein it describes the experience of growing up and the way it sees the world. In the first stanza, the bird talks that it lives in a little house and it thought that it was made of pale blue shell. And further, it thought that the world was made of straw. As the bird grew older and struggled to fly, it saw that the world was made of green leaves of the tree. And at last, when the bird grew old enough to fly away from the nest, it saw that the world was made of blue sky. And now the bird is asking question to us, if we can tell what the world is really made of. I hope you enjoyed this poem, What a Bird Thought. Now let's have some fun with an activity. Here is an activity for you. Draw a bird's nest with its eggs in it and describe it. You have to draw a bird's nest with the eggs and you have to describe the nest. So you can write 5 to 10 lines about it for describing it. So students, keep learning, be happy, enjoy your learning. Keep learning new things every day.